Hi. How do I start this?
Hi, Mimi.
Hi, Joan. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd like to introduce everyone to Joan. This is my dear colleague / sister in the school we work at. So I want to thank Joan for accepting my invitation, for being my first interviewee for this book, God Still Speaks, which God led me to write a few years ago. So how did this interview come about? So it kind of has to do with your mom. Okay, Joan, would you like to share a little bit more about
Absolutely. So it's almost a miracle. What happened was a few months ago, my mother was going through the Breakthrough Book Gallery. It's down in Jordan. She likes to go there to look at Christian books and biblical books. And she came back with a bundle for me because I was going through like a very spiritually kind of blue stage. And she knows that about me. And she was like buying some books that are about how to like get spiritually uplifted again, and there was a whole stack. And as I was flipping through them, one of them looked particularly familiar because I already knew that Mimi made this book a few years ago. But then as I flipped to the final page, it was like about the author, and I was just like, wow, this is my colleague. And I was very shocked because my mother doesn't know that Mimi is my colleague, and it really feels like, you know, somehow God planned for this to be, that God wanted me to read this book. And thus I immediately started reading it. And after I read it, I think a few days later, I just texted Mimi. I was like, one, I want your signature for this book because you are the author. But secondly...
So touched.
Secondly, I was like, I really do want to share. So I think we sat in the conference room and we shared for a little while. And afterwards, I think this was the inspiration for this interview, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. So when we met at the conference room, I was like so touched that she could just share like I think 2 to 3 chapters of what she read, and I felt like, oh, I want to record what you just said for my readers or future readers. Like what she shared really touched my heart. I felt like, wow, really, this book is speaking to people. Like, I mean, it's not really known, right? So I was like really, I felt I wanted to invite her, and thank you so much. So this is the day that we're doing the interview, and you shared that you have like about 3 chapters to share with us, okay? So the first one is chapter 2, where I talked about my husband when he was still my boyfriend, that I was trying to work on him, okay, as if he was my project, okay? 有啲嘢睇唔順啊, I was like, I just want to fix him, right? And then God told me, you know what, he's my project, not yours. Focus on your own problem. I mean, I had to admit that I still have a lot of problems, but truly, like then I had like even more problems, and I was trying to work on my boyfriend at that time. So God told me, just let go. Okay, let me work on him. So I'd like to ask you, what did you think about this chapter? What did it mean to you?
So it's the second chapter, actually. So when you flip through the book, very quickly you get to the second chapter. And I remember being so touched because my favorite hymn is called Canvas and Clay. And it's a hymn that talks about how God is the potter and we are the clay, and we need to let God work on us. And there was a line that Mimi says in her chapter where it's like, you know, what's wrong with my boyfriend? You know, what's going on? And God was like, oh, you know, he's my project. Let me work on him. And then Mimi was saying something like, well, if he's your project, why aren't you working on him yet? Like, when is it going to happen? And I think it really resonates with me because sometimes not only do we have to accept that God is taking his sweet time working on us and like showing us what his plan is, we also even more need to be aware that he's taking his sweet time working on someone else's too. I think I don't have a husband, but like we work with students.
Not yet.
We work with students on a daily basis, right? And sometimes we're like really frustrated because we try our very best. We tell them again and again to do or not do certain things, and they're still not doing it. And I think that question hit me right in the heart. It was like, you know, if he's your project, why aren't you doing anything yet? You know, we've been here with him since grade 8, grade 9, grade 10. He seems to be still doing the same things. And we need to let go and let God, as you were saying, because the fact is we're just a very tiny part of their journey. We're, you know, he has his parents, his family, his friends, his, 大佬, all the other things he has.
Right.
And so we're a tiny part of that. And when God takes his time using all the tools in his arsenal to work at this person, then he'll be fine.
That's right.
So we just need to let God do his work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like to kind of report that my husband now, he's amazing. He's amazing. The minute that I decided to let go, God just started to work on him. And then we got married. I forgot about this, I'll give you 1 year to work on him. Okay, then I'm going to let go. I forgot all about it because he started to change him, right? And now, God has totally revamped this person. And I'm so proud of him. And it's true that we need to let go of people we love and also ourselves. We have to let go of ourselves to God, so the Almighty God can work on us.
Oh, I want to respond to that because as I was going through the book, I was looking for 3 chapters I wanted to share. Obviously, there's so many more chapters that are good. But one of the ones I thought about sharing was one near the end where you kind of talked about your relationship with your husband again. And it's so different. From the beginning, the second chapter, to all the way to the end, you can really feel Mimi has really shifted the way she looks at it. And obviously, her husband has changed a lot. So it almost is like you walking through a journey with her through this book. So it was very fun.
Cool. Chapter 27, I think.
Yeah.
It's about submitting to your husband.
Yeah, so it was it's not only just a devotional where each chapter is individual. You can also read it like a story of how you kind of shift it as well. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that out. That's special. And the next chapter is chapter 9. It's about it's quite huge, probably in our lives. It's about people pleasing.